We, my sister and I, are the adult children of alcoholics. I love that term. Don't you love that term? Because it so beautifully describes what happens to a child who's raised in an alcoholic home. I mean, we grow up to be adults, technically. But really, until we understand what happened in that home, until we understand what happened in our lives, and until we take responsibility, we're stuck. Stuck in the world of addiction and stuck in our childhoods. I am what you call an overachiever. I am sure many of you in this room can relate to that term. I don't do anything halfway. And when it comes to the world of addiction, I and my sister, we were born into an overachieving family. To date, 6 male members of our family have died of the disease of addiction. It began with our grandfather, who was an alcoholic. Then our father succumbed to the disease. Then it took our oldest brother. And then my sister and I both lost our first husbands. Hers to drug addiction, mine to alcoholism. And then just a year ago in May, our last surviving brother, who'd suffered from alcoholism for years, shot and killed himself right in front of our 82-year-old mother, a woman who had devoted her life to trying to save him and every other addict in our lives. Yes, the men in our family, they have suffered terribly with the disease of addiction. But never to be left out and not to be undone, the women in our lives suffer from the other half of the disease. And believe me, we think there is another half to this disease, and that is the disease of enabling. My sister and I are chief enablers, and all the women in our lives have suffered from the disease of enabling. And we believe it is a disease that many people you know suffer from, and many people in the world today suffer from. Because the story of our family and our life is not really just a story of addiction. It's the story of addiction and its partner, enabling. And when both of those diseases are present in the family, the tragedy is that the disease is allowed to spread for generations to come. Because what really happened in our family, what truly is our story, is the story of one addict, our grandfather, and the 10, yes, count them 10 enablers who spent their lives, really wasted their lives, either trying to please or trying to save him. And what my sister and I discovered by really watching the addicts and the enablers in our lives is that addiction really touches not just the addict, but the entire family. It impacts everybody in the family. And again, when it's left untreated, it becomes a breeding ground which allows the addiction enabling to happen for generations. And our recovery began when we identified and recognized enabling as truly a disease, and a disease from which we suffer. And it was in that discovery that we started our journey out of the world of addiction. And we discovered 3 very powerful lessons that put us on our road to recovery. 3 things that we believe are the very foundation for our recovery. And what we want to do today is share those 3 very powerful lessons with you. And our hope is that you're able to take those lessons and help others recognize that they suffer from the disease of enabling. But more importantly, use those lessons to put them on the road to recovery. Because it is these 3 lessons that turn our story from one of tragedy to one of true growth and development and ultimately to joy.